I don't know why flies like to hang around your face. Like, out of all the areas they could hang around, like, you always gotta be right in front of me. Why? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin, and today we're listening to Porcupine Tree with their song Blackest Eyes. This is off of the album In Absentia, which was released in 2002. You guys have been asking me for Porcupine Tree for the longest time, so I'm here just to bring you just a sample. Like, you know when you go to like Sam's Club, BJ's, or Costco, they give you a little sample? Here's just a little bit of a sample. I'm familiar with Porcupine Tree. I'm familiar with Porcupine Tree. I've heard their album Fear of a Blank Planet many years ago. That was a great album. So let's do just a little bit more. I haven't heard anything really else from them. A few songs here or there. But overall, Fear of a Blank Planet is my exposure to the band. Anyways, you guys are more than welcome to join me on Twitter. You can join me in the comments down below. And let's jump into it. This is Blackest Eyes, also the first track off the album, by Porcupine Tree.
I got one loose inside my head. I got books that never ever read. I got secrets in my garden shed. I got a scar where all my urges bled. Got people underneath my bed. I got a place where all my dreams are dead. Swim with me into
like it. I like it. The coolest thing about this song is all the contrast. Every single little bit of difference in the music between what the music is doing and what the lyrics are doing. Because if I'm looking at the lyrics and I'm reading them right, and I'm about 90% sure that I'm right, I'm pretty sure it's talking about this guy, this kid, who grows up into a guy who just wants to kill. He is a murderer. He is something of the sort, okay? That's immediately what I'm getting reading the lyrics. So, makes sense with the song in the way that it begins and the way it kind of goes back into those heavier moments. Because you would kind of expect that from, a killer story. You would definitely expect a heavier kind of sound. But as soon as it transitions the first time into that softer sung chorus, and that softer chorus in the first place, with Stephen's always soft and melodic vocals, you get kind of like a different side to the killer, even though the result is kind of the same. People gonna end up dead. So I think that that's just really cool, the way that the music actually has a nice contrasting nature within itself, almost showing two sides to the murderer, because he even says in the very first verse, a mother sings a lullaby to a child. Sometime in the future, the boy goes wild. So almost giving you a background like this was a normal kid at some point, a kid that any other mother would sing a lullaby to. But the very next line, somewhere in the future, the kid goes a little crazy, goes a little stabby, That's a nice big opening riff to drive the song, and of course it gets back into it and really makes it just a little bit heavier in the break later on. I like how they change one thing about the riff and the way it evolves later on. Let's talk about that really quick. So here's the riff, right? Panning back and forth with the atmosphere, always a nice effect. It's good. That's good, right? Yeah, I sound a little tone deaf there. Okay, but they revisit the riff a few times. Sounds great. I like it. Sounds classic, right? Let's move on to near the break though. But they repeat it here, but then they change something. That palm muting? I don't know guitar terms. But I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing, because they're stopping the music. They're stopping the notes kind of in their tracks. And it makes it sound just a little bit, to me, and maybe because I'm used to I'm going to mispronounce it, but gent and post-hardcore and all of that stuff. I'm used to that making the sound actually sound heavier to me, because it's really enunciating the riff. It's really enunciating the beginning of the riff rather than letting the whole thing play out. The fly. It's almost like the spacing in between the notes becomes more emphasized, which I think just sounds really cool. This transition is killer. That is awesome. You got the organ in there a little bit by Barbieri. And I love Stephen because his voice is so different than what preceded it, the message of the song, and yet he plays the calm yet crazy guy very good. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean he's able to fit into that kind of character, able to play the role the way it needs to be played. And another thing that I noticed listening to the music is, obviously we're talking about killer, dark-minded, that kind of thing, right? If you listen in the verse, there's a background harmony that's a little bit more of a deeper, almost more disturbed voice, and it's barely in there, it's really subtly mixed in there. But I like that because it once again shows the duality of the child, the duality of the boy who was raised as any other person would be raised, but something goes crazy, something snaps. As he says in the chorus, his wiring is loose inside his head. He got books that he's never read. He has secrets in his garden shed. Ugh. I got a scar where all my urges bled. So he apparently cuts himself, perhaps to try to achieve the same high he gets from killing someone. I got a place where all my dreams are dead. He hides all those dreams in the back of his head, wherever those are. I got people underneath my bed. That he's hiding people in his garden shed. He's hiding people underneath his bed. He's got a lot of people. Swim with me into your blackest eyes. And when I see swim with me into your blackest eyes, it reminds me of perhaps he's looking into the person's eyes as he's killing them, as they're dying. He's swimming with them into their blackest eyes, their dead eyes. And then getting into the verses, a walk in the woods I will try, something under the trees that made you cry. It's so erotic when your makeup runs. Well, if someone's makeup is running, that's typically because they're crying, they're sweating, something is happening to them. Here, I'm going to imagine they're crying or they're sweating from running away from him, because he even says something under the trees that made you cry. Well, that would be him, I would imagine. And then the next verse, a few minutes with me inside my van should be so beautiful if we can. I'm feeling something taking over me. I like how, like, I don't know, it's a little dark, you know? I really like the guitar effects. It gives this whole thing a very dreamy and surreal kind of feeling. And you know what? I feel like, now that I'm thinking about it, this is probably going to be the last point I make. I feel like the contrast that I mentioned in the beginning between the lyrics, which are so dark and so grim, and the actual music, which is very light, it's very floaty, like I said, it's very dreamy. I feel like that contrast actually makes the story even more disturbing. It actually makes it scarier, rather than just some like, oh, heavy, dark, blah, 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 blah. You know, like that, we expect that. But when the serial killer is killing in the daylight, so to speak, makes it that much scarier. Anyways, I would love to know what you guys thought of the song. You can join me on Twitter. You can join me in the comments down below. Hope you're having a beautiful and a fantastic day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.